Black and white interracial courtship in 21st century, and it is conducted by the University of California. It is a study that examined the stated and revealed preferences for black and white users. When we look at the stated preferences, we see white women being the most racially selective group among all. As I quote from the study, black males were the least selective in the sense that the majority of them stated no preference in regard to race, ethnicity of a potential partner. White females, half of whom sought a partner of their own race, ethnicity, were the most selective of the four race gender groups. And when we look at the revealed preferences, this is where things get interesting. All white women who said white men only went for white men. I mean, this is no brainer, no surprise there. But 15% of white women who said ethnic men only still went for white men. I think this is a great example to show how women are virtue signaling gender. Look at this line from the study. When the science spits the black pill. There was, however, inconsistency between revealed and stated preferences for women. Women who stated no preference in regard to race ethnicity nevertheless revealed in their behavior a strong same race ethnicity preference. The second study I want to bring up is the mate selection in the cyberspace, the intersection of race, gender, and education. The study looked at a large dataset from one of the most popular dating websites of more than 9 million users who sent more than 200 million messages. In the graph you can see female responding patterns and that black men doing worse among all races. According to the data, even black women respond to white men more than black men. If you try to cope by thinking, oh, that is because of all the uneducated village women, educated, college-educated women don't discriminate based on race. Let's look at what kind of role education plays. As you can see, it is negligible according to the data coming from the study. Again, I quote from the study directly. The study finds that significant racial preferences exist regardless of education status. White men and women with a college degree are more likely to respond to white daters without a college degree than to black daters who have a degree. This tendency to privilege a man's whiteness over his achieved status is even more pronounced among non-college educated women, who are even more likely to respond to white men's messages regardless of their level of education. We are not finished, on to the next one. This study is called Positioning Multiraciality in Cyberspace and published in the American Sociological Review. This one focuses on the effects of being mixed, basically tries to test for one drop rule in the dating market, and the results are quite upsetting for non-white men. When we look at how white women respond, again we see black men are at the bottom along with Asian men. But here is the more brutal part. Black women worship white men more than white women do. And the results are quite upsetting for non-white men. When we look at how white women respond, again we see black men are at the bottom along with Asian men. But here is the more brutal part. Black women worship white men more than white women do. Besides these major studies from respectable universities, numbers released by online dating websites also confirm the black pill. I know normies in the comment section are gonna say, well, that is because America is a racist. Here in Europe we eat black dick for breakfast, we are so liberal. Just for that reason I tried to look at data specifically for Europe. Let's look at numbers in Europe. The first study done in Europe, racial preferences in European countries. And what we see is, even the most cocked European countries have very strong racial preferences. Blacks do almost as bad as Arabs in countries like Germany and Sweden. Another data coming from Europe, it is called Racial Homophily and Exclusion in Europe. By the way guys, I'm gonna put all the links to these studies in the description so you can go check it yourself. In the table 2A, Euros exclude Africans at a rate of 68%. And even worse, Africans exclude other Africans at a rate of 38%. Next, in the table 6, you can see racial diversity plays no role, no significant role when it comes to racial discrimination based on race.
Я ні. Чому? Ну, тому що я не могу сказать, что это как бы дискриминирует человека по цвету кожи. Например, меня не привлекают. Не потому что он черный, не потому что не привлекают темнокожие люди.
So there you have it folks, I brought you guys scientific black pills and tried to refrain from talking about my own personal opinions and experiences. But I'm gonna say this, I do think this whole BBC fetish thing is really pushed by pornography industry and doesn't reflect the real sexual market value of black men. Average white and black men have identical dick and height size. But thanks to the popular culture, everybody expects black men to have that BBC. In reality, African American men are even slightly shorter than white American men. It is also worth mentioning that blacks are overrepresented in our community. 10% of incels.me forum are black men. A forum that only 40% of its members are from the United States. There is also